One of the things that happens whenever you're entering a new stage is that you start getting confused because you weren't the person you used to be and you aren't yet the person you're headed into. So the big question a lot of them say is who am I? Who am I now? And they're confused about that. So the very first stage in the subtle tier, there are leaders at that stage, but oftentimes they're very confused about who they are, and they have one foot in the collective, which told them that they had all of the ideas that they had conformed to the collective ideas. They're the conformist collective, and yet at the same time, oftentimes they thought their ideas were individual there. For instance, you might have a group of people that are at the conformist stage, and all of them say, "I am a radical." That sounds like we're individual, doesn't it? But every one of them are saying, "I am a radical." Every one of them has a t-shirt that says, "I am a radical." Every one of them is wearing the same hairdo. So they're collectively oriented that way. But what happens when you get to the first leadership stage, subtle leadership stages, is you have these, they're usually younger people. Oftentimes they're going into college or around there. They're a variety of ages, and some people stay at that age a long time. Sometimes they enter in a little sooner than that, but I'd say the vast number of them are, 18, 19 to 25 or somewhere around in there. And often much later, but they suddenly, the ideas, instead of coming from the group, suddenly start raining into their own mind when nobody's around. And it's shocking to them that they can have all of these ideas. They're very confused about where these ideas come from. One foot is still in the collective, in the concrete tier, and yet they're experiencing some very different experiences. And they're very confused about, well, what should I do? So you often see that because they're starting to get used to these ideas belonging to me, here you can have ownership of ideas. You start learning that you can own an idea instead of a car or a moped. That's a very different experience for them. So they can't really see the future very far at all yet. So how do you discover who you are when you can't see in the future and yet you don't have the group to tell you who you are? You start experimenting. And so this is what we see with people who are at this very first leadership stage. They experiment, but like everybody, they don't want to make mistakes. So they try and make things perfect. Just like a baby when they're trying to pick up a pea, and they'll practice and practice and practice until they can pick the peas up. And at this first leadership stage, um, they're very careful about what they do, and they want to experiment with everything. They're in an experiential stage trying to figure out, who am I and what do I even want to do in the world? So they take, a lot of different courses if they're in college, or a lot of different jobs at first to figure out, I don't even know what I like. And how does that fit with who I am? So they're exploring and experimenting a lot.